Hey everyone and welcome. Now if you're not sick of hearing zealots in our media constantly going on and on and on and on and on about how we have to stop everything or we're all gonna die, etc, etc. Remember the old footage of the fella walking down the street with the words, "The end is nigh" written on it? They were never paid attention to, were they? Because they were a little bit crackpot. Well, here's the main instigator of crackpotted tomfoolery and complete grift, because this man makes a fortune out of green energy.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration.
This is Dale Vince, and he's decided that you lot, you little plebs, should give up everything that you don't like, should give up everything that you like to save the planet. And he uses pretty much stupidity, as far as I'm concerned, and easily disprovable facts, as they always seem to do. So we'll have a listen to what he says and then we'll go through the facts. Have a listen.
Oxford University published a study a couple of years ago that showed that if we all ate plants instead of animals, we could free up 75% of all farmland globally as well as in our country. And that 75% for us is half of our entire country that we've taken from nature, from wildlife. And that's just because of our diets, it's because of what we choose to eat.
Now there's so much to break apart in that. For one, Oxford University, are we going to trust them now? I've been paying attention to that cesspit for quite some time, because they do like to broadcast things on the internet, and I don't trust them as far as I could spit the word. But anyway, let's get into this, shall we? So basically he's saying that 75% of all farmland would be freed up if we got rid of the animals. Because I assume he means getting rid of the animals, because he's not going to have a cow in his house as a pet, is he? So what happens to all the animals that are here already? Just as an example, if we stopped and did everything that he said, then for one, it'd cripple the country, people would starve, but he don't care about that because he's got the money to pay for whatever he wants, including, probably, secretly, meat. Think I'm wrong? So let's have a look at the actual figures and stuff, shall we? So this is how much of the UK is actually used as farmland. So it's 56% of the land in the UK, that's Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland, is farmland. 34% is natural, which means not farmed. Green urbans, the suburban areas obviously, and the built ons, the cities. So let's have a look at the animals. Obviously he's intending on getting rid of all animals in the country. So how many animals is that actually? Because no one seems to put this to these people. What do you want to do with the animals? And do you want to be the one that does it? Because let's have a look. We've got animal wise. Cattle and calves in England is 5.2 million. Now that's a decrease. The total breeding herd is 1.8 million. Pigs, 4 million animals. Sheep and lambs, 15.4 million. Total number of laying fowl and breeding fowl, 92 million. And horses, 153,000 head. So he would be intending on, I assume, decimating all of those or selling them off to someone that will slaughter them and eat them. Now obviously, he doesn't know anything about farming, does he? He doesn't understand that a lot of the reason that this farmland isn't used is because it can't be. So it has to be used for dairy and cattle. And the reason being is because it's not flat land. That's why you see a lot in northern Scotland, quite a fair bit through the middle of Wales, and quite a bit on the west coast of Northern Ireland. But he doesn't pay any attention to that. He just wants everyone to stop eating meat. And why would you want to do that? Let's be honest, everyone. Vegetarians have to eat supplements, don't they? If it was the perfect diet and what we should be doing, why do you need to go to shops and buy tablets and powders to supplement it? Exactly. So let's have a look at the actual farmland, shall we? The stuff in each of those areas. So we've got England first. Other, 5%. Grass, 42%. Now that doesn't necessarily mean animals. That could be for things like biogas production, etc, etc. So it doesn't actually tell you how much of that percentage, but it does give you an idea of the areas that can't be farmed, you know, for vegetables and stuff, because they're not flat enough to get the vehicles on, they're not flat enough to harvest, not flat enough to seed, and that is rough grazing. Now these are the hills and things that you see sheep on all the time. the moors in the middle of the countries where it's just impossible to actually farm vegetables like this Fraggle wants. In England, the amount of land that's being used for crops and fallow meaning unused, just ploughed and left for a season. So it's not got anything on it. It's not being grazed. It's not being used for crops. That's 44%. And all of the rest are quite different. And that's because of geography. It's not because of choice. Most of the reason why we farm animals in certain places is because you can't do crops. It's as simple as that. And this Fraggle doesn't understand that, doesn't care. So long as his green energy company is getting more and more subsidies from the government, etc., making him a very, very rich man. He doesn't care about you starving, or your parents starving, or your grandparents starving, or your children starving in the future. Because, let's be honest, animals and dairy, etc., are essentially factories, aren't they? They'll turn grass that we can't eat into food and produce. It's as simple as that. And I'd rather farm them and give them a life, all of these millions of animals, than exterminate them like a vegetarian wants to. Save the animals. Ignore a vegetarian, especially this man. Let me know what you think. I'd like to know your opinion. Stay sane. I'll see you on the next one. We're surrounded by Fraggles, aren't we, everyone?